Hello, Ben. How are you doing today?
Hey, Bonnie, so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Coming at you from Toronto. We're going to be getting this on Paramount Plus, so very excited. And I gotta dive in here by asking you, seriously, how much fun are you having reliving being an 11-year-old?
Oh my God, this is a dream come true role, and I see so much of myself in Nate.
Ah,
I actually, in sixth grade,
right?
I was an artist. I drew, I doodled. I almost went into the fine arts before I chose this very stable career of entertainment instead.
Yes.
And it's just crazy the parallels that I see between myself and Nate. And in many ways, Bonnie, this is sort of a sixth grade do over for me because I didn't have Nate's level of confidence in sixth grade.
Okay.
I struggled to make friends. Nate doesn't have any of those problems.
No,
He's
he
got all the
doesn't.
confidence in the world. He's got this great group of friends. So I feel like in many ways I'm getting to live out the sixth grade that I probably should have had in the 90s.
Well, I was going to ask you because what really was the most mischievous thing, if you could think back, that you did. I mean, he's got a lot of talents and stuff, but he's mischievous. So
Oh
think
yeah.
back.
Oh, Nate is crazy mischievous.
Yeah.
Here's what I like though. If Nate messes up, he knows he's messed up and he'll be the first to apologize at the end of an episode, but
Right.
they've got to go through some real some real zany adventures for them to get to that point. If I think back to my own sort of misadventures in middle school, I used to go teepee houses all the time. That was my way of just pulling pranks on people. You'd go and you'd get your packs of toilet paper and you'd go sneak around and you think you're out late and it's like 8:30 at night and you're throwing toilet paper at people's trees, and then the next day their parents are calling my mom saying like, "Hey, we know it was Ben. What are you doing?" And then I would have to go like clean it up, and I'd
Yeah.
be grounded for a week or whatever. So certainly, like many kids, I've teepeed a house in my day. Uh,
Okay, okay. Good to know. Good to know. I will not have toilet paper around you when I meet you in person. No problem there. Okay, so you are no stranger to the voiceover experience. Of course, you've done, stuff on camera, no question about it. But for the last voiceover thing you did, you worked as an ensemble. So for this one, were you alone or did you get to work with some of the other actors?
It's a great point you bring up, and I think it's the thing that makes the experience of this show so unique. One of the biggest challenges we faced, I booked this role the first week of the pandemic.
Oh,
So for
wow.
2 years, we've created a television show where no one has been in the same physical room. Despite that, I think we are one of the only shows I can think of that still records as an ensemble. And so once a week, we get on a big Zoom. And I think where we really have benefited with this show is the actors are able to still play off of each other. My
Yeah,
real life improv and writing partner, Arnie Pantoja, who plays
yeah.
Teddy Ortiz, is on the show. And so Arnie and I have this great improvisational chemistry together that we've developed over years that I think is so cool that we've been able to actually reflect in our ensemble recordings with the rest of the cast. And I feel like the show has really benefited from our ability to react to one another, to improvise with each other. I give a lot of credit to our showrunner, Mitch Watson, who gives us the freedom to riff.
Yeah,
So
which is
even though
great.
we're here,
Yeah.
I am in my home voiceover studio in Los Angeles, we're still able to act with one another. And I think the show has benefited hugely from it.
I would think so for sure. I mean, it's a whole different beast when you get to act off your fellow actors. I mean, totally, you do it a different way.
Yeah.
How big Nate savvy were you before coming into this?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I'm 37, so I think I like missed the initial surge of Big Nate fandom when it first
Yeah,
came out. And so it's actually been a real treat for me to kind of retroactively educate myself on the enormous fan base for Big Nate, for both the comic strips and the book series.
yeah,
And it's also been an advantage because all of our television episodes are new original storylines. So I have kind of a dual responsibility as Big Nate to honor the source material and make sure that the existing fans are really happy with how we're representing things, but
yeah.
also to invite in a whole new generation of Big Nate fans and introduce people to the stories and the friendships and the relationships. And one thing that I feel is consistent throughout is Big Nate is really based in edgy humor. And I
Right.
think you will find a real edge to the comedy of this show. I grew up watching, Ren and Stimpy and old school Nicktoons, and there was always such a fun edge to those cartoons. And I think you will find a real nostalgic edge to the comedy in Big Nate.
Well, yeah, I was going to ask you what you thought the appeal, like, why is Big Nate so popular? I mean, yes, there are kids that can relate to him and kind of live vicariously through him, I guess, right, too, you know? But what do you think it is?
You know, the thing to me that I admire most about Nate is his confidence. You know, he's a kid who the confidence is sort of unearned, right? Like he doesn't necessarily have a reason to be this confident, and maybe he is sort of concealing some inner insecurities with this sort of bravado and almost cockiness to his character. But he's a good kid, and
Yeah,
everything is rooted in friendship. And so, you know, to me, the thing I admire most is that level of confidence. It's confidence I wish that maybe I discovered a little earlier in my life. And so I think that's the thing that we can glean the most. And the reason people want to live vicariously through Nate is who wouldn't want this great group of sort of misfit fun friends going on adventures and getting into trouble together and
yeah,
not really caring what anyone else thinks of them.
right. Yeah. Oh, listen, every kid wants to feel
Yeah,
like that. Listen, every adult wants to feel like
right?
yeah, absolutely. So, at the end of the day, Ben, like I said, you've done on camera and a lot of voiceover stuff. What do you prefer? What gives you the most freedom or makes you feel the most comfortable?
You know, it's a great question, and I appreciate it. You know, I think when I first graduated theater school, I went to USC here in Los Angeles years ago. I thought, okay, I can only be a television actor. That's it. And if I do anything outside of that, it'll mess with my brand or people won't take me seriously. I've completely flipped my perspective on that. I think the more creative outlets we can have as entertainers or people in the creative field, the more stories there are to tell. So I am equally obsessed with acting in front of a microphone versus acting in front of a television camera. I direct commercials and music videos. I have equal passion for being behind the camera. I think at the end of the day, 15 years ago, if I would have handed you a business card, it would have said Ben Giroux, actor. Now, if I hand you a business card, it would say Ben Giroux, I like to make cool stuff with my friends.
That's cool. But talking about that, because yes, you have a strong presence on social media and Instagram and everything. How has that kind of changed your way of thinking and acting and doing things?
You know, 2022, what a time to be alive. I would say TikTok, believe it or not, is the source of everything. I've got
Crazy, right? Like,
almost 4.5 million people on my TikTok, and it's been a great outlet to promote the early days of our show. It's been a great
wow.
way to connect with a younger audience that follows my work primarily on Nickelodeon. And I think the thing that's most exciting about social media is like, in the 90s, I would run around with like a mini DV camera trying to like make funny stuff with my friends using the props we could find around us.
Sure.
Then you build things up big enough, and here I am in this broadcast quality studio making a television show, or then I'll be on set with 250 people and jibs and steady cams. And yet TikTok allows you to get right back to just having your camera and whatever else you have around you, and you just sort of figure it out. There's a messiness to it. And actually, what I like about it is that same level of grit and messiness to just sort of throwing TikToks online is the
Yeah.
messiness that is evident in PS38 and the animation style of Big Nate and
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
Nate doesn't really care about getting into a little bit of messy trouble. So I think my social media presence fits really well with what this show is, and I hope that it can ultimately help continue to develop an audience for us.
Oh, I think it will for sure. Well, listen, what a pleasure having the opportunity to talk to you today, Ben. Best of luck with Big Nate. Kids are going to love. I think families will love it. It's good for the whole family.
I think so too. I think there's something for everybody. There's a lot of nostalgia in it for older generations. So I really appreciate it, and so nice to meet you, Bonnie.
You too, Ben. Take care and stay safe and healthy out there. Okay.
You too. Take it
Okay.
easy.
Take care. Thanks
Bye
for your
bye.
time. Bye bye.